Everyone, welcome to my channel. This week I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 17. It's decision day, so we get to find out who says yes and who says no. So I'll review the couples as they add until we've reached the end. So they started off with Gil and Merla. For me, Gil and Merla have always been very hopeful for them because Gil and Merla have shown a lot of growth, especially Merla in herself, in how she's responded towards her husband and how she sort of made the necessary changes, although they are still the major change, which is the one about finances. And they did discuss it during the decision day, their views and where they come, their goals or their aspirations. And Merla said, she wants to be very successful. She wants to she's certain goals that she's set out. And Gil was saying, I am someone who's really not, I think he was trying to, he said he's not really after being a millionaire. He's just after being, comfortable and happy, which makes sense. And for me, I think Gil and Merla, the way they matched them, I think they matched them with the idea of Keith and Christina, because Christina is very driven. She was very driven during their season. She had a goal, she had the aspirations, and she had a plan, whereas Keith was sort of, here, there, and everywhere, and she was able to help him sort of drive himself to reach his fullest potential, or that's how they're heading as a couple now on Couples Cam. Anyway, for me, I was happy that they both stayed married. I saw that they were going to stay married because you could see the change in their relationship. Gil is so excited that they consummated their marriage. He's told everybody with ears to hear. He told the experts, he told the other couples, and I think everybody, if nothing else, they didn't vocalize it. I think they should appreciate the fact that even though it took Gil and Mela time to warm up to each other, their process might have been way better than a couple like Zach and Michaela, because they were hot and heavy right from the jump, and then things just went downhill. And I think with Married at First Sight history, most couples that are slow to start are always the ones that are successful, are always the ones that stay married. You have examples of Shanice and Jeff.D, you have Dion and Greg. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, if anyone is planning on going on the show, they will see such couples, and if they do go on the show, they might want to sort of learn from these couples and, possibly have a successful marriage. I am worried about Gil and Merla because I saw the clip from the reunion and Gil was crying. Merla was saying, she's just friends with Johnny. I know there's been rumors that, they might be dating. For me, I hope Merla didn't jeopardize her relationship with Gil, because at times there are a lot of people with plenty of money and are very unhappy in their relationships and would give anything to find a relationship with someone like Gil. So I hope Merla appreciates him for who he is, and I hope whatever he's crying about is not because their relationship broke down, because I don't see Gil crying because their relationship broke down. He did air his opinions and he did voice out his concerns about his marriage, and it's things that they've discussed all along, and Merla was open to it and said yes, he has brought this up. It's not the first time he said it, and I like the fact that she's acknowledging that she does have flaws. She has noticed she's got flaws and she's working on her flaws. I really have high hopes for them, because there's some couples on Married at First Sight that are still married that you wonder, how do they stay married and how are they still married? But somehow they found a way to make it work and they're happy. So I wish the same for Merla and Gil. From there, they went on to Bo and Johnny. And Bo and Johnny, I was very heartbroken about Bo and Johnny, because I don't know what everybody else thinks, because I had high hopes for them. They seemed to sort of, have this history whereby they knew each other from college. They had the people who believed in their culture and they incorporated that in their marriage. They seemed to be very open to communication. And I think Johnny overlooked Bao quite a lot. I think he overlooked her quite a lot and didn't realize what he had, I think, until he got to decision day, which was a day late and $1 short. And on his decision, he said he wanted to stay married to her. And she said no. And during the conversation, he was saying, oh, I never tried to raise my voice. I never tried to be critical. And it's like, I wonder if these people forget that there are cameras following them, because there is proof that he was sort of belittling towards Bao. And now that I think the conversation they had on the last episode with Couples with Bao saying a no is a no, a no is not a maybe, and the fact that I think he saw Bao today and he thought, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. I think those are some of the things that made him want to say yes. And I really don't know. I don't know whether Johnny went and sat down with his family and they told him, had a conversation with him about how he had behaved and how he had treated his wife, because he was singing a totally different tune and he tried his best, to come off. He was on his apology tour. He apologized about Sarah. He did this, that, and the other, but Bao wasn't having it. She was done with the relationship and she said, that's it. And so they were divorced. The experts were disappointed because they had high hopes for them as well. So it's really sad when a couple's potential self-sabotages and just explodes right in front of your eyes, and you can see that, this thing is going, downhill, and there's no way of stopping it. So it's sad. I think Bao had and Johnny had all the tools. They were good communicators. They were people who had a history, not a bad history, but just a history whereby they knew each other. It's not like they were strangers and having to start from scratch. But somehow Johnny, for some reason, self-destructed. And it's sad that his friend who was encouraging him to self-destruct, Ryan, suddenly had nice things to say about Johnny's marriage. And it's like, well, you should have said all those things to encourage him to stay married instead of being there sort of high-fiving him on his bad decisions. But hey, I digress. From there, they moved on to Brett and Ryan. Brett and Ryan, for me, it was always going to be a no anyway. It was always going to be a no because Ryan is another one who self-sabotaged. And it's sad that these two guys want to get married, have this idea of a marriage, and yet they don't know what they want. And I don't think they know exactly whatever it is they're looking for. I don't think they know it. And I loved the fact that Dr. Pepper held Ryan's feet to the fire. She asked him, why did you download a dating app? Which doesn't make sense to anyone. The fact that he downloaded, unless he was trying to force her, he was worried that she would say yes and didn't want to be the one to say no. So he looked for an excuse and a reason to get her to say no. And so they had a conversation, he said, tried to apologize just like Johnny for his behavior. Pastor Carl actually told him that, Brett is an amazing. And for me, given some of the women that have stayed married and married at first sight, Brett is an amazing girl. She's just like Mindy. And it's a pity that she was matched with this guy who on paper seemed to be the right guy. But suddenly, he didn't appreciate all that because he had this idea. And I like the fact that when he said, oh, I'm 35 years old and I like what I like. And Dr. Pepper said, well, it might not be that you like what you like, the people that you like. It might be the fault lies with you, which is exactly where it is. The fault lies with him just as the fault lies with Johnny. And they need to work on themselves and become better people if they're going to plan on getting married to someone someday. From there, they moved on to Zach and Michaela. Zach and Michaela, it's sad that two of my couples that I hoped would stay married are the ones that have, got divorced, which is sad, really. Zach and Michaela, I think, for me, were done the very first day that Michaela stormed off because Zach left without telling her. And so whatever else has happened is just fuel onto a burning fire. They sat down with the experts. Zach had this letter he had written for Michaela. It didn't make sense to me. I tuned out for a bit because there's no need in him trying to sort of puff her up only to sort of bring her down again. And I know people are comparing him to Chris. I don't think he's that bad. I think he has this idea of marriage. He has this vision of marriage that he's seen or that he's grown up around, and that is what he's always wanted. And sadly, he's not able to vocalize it. And he tried to have a conversation where he explains, Michaela wanted to stay married. I don't know how she expected to stay married to him after the temper tantrum she threw. I don't know how she expected him to say yes, because he already told her that her way of dealing with issues is totally different to his. So I don't know. Anyway, she said yes, she wanted to stay married. She saw a future for them. Zach said no, but he was willing to give their relationship a chance. And I think for me, the experts have said it before, that some people are different when they respond or react differently when they're interviewing them, such that when they see them on TV, they're shocked because the person that they sat down with is not the same person that they see on TV. So I don't know. It's sad they got divorced. I don't know. They say Zach is dating Bao, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll hear next week. From there, we went on to the final couple, which is Jose and Rachel. For me, Jose and Rachel, I've said this all season long. I don't understand how they both said yes. I'm still amazed by it. But then I was also amazed when Beth and Jamie, or AJ and Stephanie, said yes to each other, because I didn't see a future for them, but they're still married. So maybe Jose and Rachel are going to shock us. They did bring up the issue about their fight, and they did bring up, one or two concerns, but they were happy to stay married and chose to stay married. So I don't know. We'll see. I really don't have a lot to say about Rachel and Jose, because I haven't seen any growth or development. So I don't know what to comment on them, because I always thought they were keeping up appearances, but I might be wrong. Anyway, we'll see you next. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week after the reunion.